Felicitations and salutations, fluffs and fuzzles alike. Welcome to FrozenOver Studios and my debut video. I'm Fenni, and today I have for you a speed paint video, as if YouTube isn't saturated with those already. Hooray! However, I did decide to do a little something different with my first video, and who knows, maybe it'll become a series. Today, instead of a generic story time or music over this video's speed paint, I will be interviewing Ivik, the customer who commissioned the piece in the speed paint to begin with. And we're going to learn a little bit about the idea and the lore behind the creature design that he ordered. This was all recorded with express permission of the commissioner for the purposes of this video. Being new to YouTube, there are just a couple of things I need to point out so I don't get murdered in the comments. Firstly, my apologies for any issues with audio. I'm using a cheap headset and performing an interview over Discord via voice chat. I did try to adjust as much as I can, but any foreign noise or hiss, etc., could be avoided. I really didn't know how. So apologies for that. Being self-taught has its drawbacks. Secondly, I am literally teaching myself how to edit videos with a whole new program, which I'm unfamiliar with, so while I'm open for constructive criticism and tips for improvement, please be kind with your commentary otherwise. With that, welcome to my channel, and I hope you enjoy the video. And we are recording.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I told you I was going to stop the recording long enough to...
Right.
I was informative.
Yeah, brain function, not good. Lit.
Blech. You know I'm going to have to put a Squirtle blip on the screen when you make that noise, right?
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to sample that noise, and there's going to be intermittent turtle blips.
Okay, 1 second. Ow. Okay, one moment. I accidentally activated Cortana, and she's just blaring in my ears. Oh, jeez. Okay, there we go. Ow. So loud.
Why does your pain amuse me? That was mean.
So professional.
I know, I'm sorry.
I was talking about me.
I was the one laughing at your pain.
Not expecting that to just blast my ears.
I would imagine not.
To activate at all.
Oh, jeez.
I just hear a steam ping.
You did just hear a Steam ping, and nobody ever messages me on Steam until I start recording for a video.
That's actually kind of funny.
No, it's not.
Look, if you can laugh at me getting my ears bled out by Cortana.
Okay, fair point. Damn it.
It's only fair.
I would imagine. Oh, man.
Steam messages very often either, and usually it's just Discord messages regarding Steam.
Alright, so is there anything that you want to talk about as far as the lore for the particular demon that I designed for you that you'd like me to put over the track?
I haven't thought about any lore specifically, like, for him specifically, but greed demons tend to be collectors. They tend to be the type of people who want to try and get the most money off of the least cost possible, so you can usually see them as, they're very popular in corporations as money handlers, and they can often be seen as stuff like car salesmen, or the one that you did, a jewelry merchant who's kind of on the shadier side, or maybe somebody who sells bootleg luxury brands on the streets, that kind of stuff. They have the innate power to just know the value of something just by looking at it. They like to try and see how different things might affect the perceived value of something. Like, oh, maybe a new coat of paint on this used car is going to allow you to sell it for an extra 2 grand, even if the paint's only going to cost you about 100 grand, not 100 grand, but like $100 if you use a cheap brand, that kind of stuff. They're all about trying to get the most money with the least profit, or with the highest profit margin, usually at the cost of the people buying it.
So is it more of a more money for less effort thing? Or is it get this item for my collection at any cost?
Yes, because the demon that you drew has his job with his collection, the thing that he likes to collect. But that's not always the case with demons, greed demons. Some of them might collect clocks, but they might not be a clock salesman, for example. Maybe they're instead some sort of accountant for a large corporation or something like that.
Right.
But trying to get things for the least amount possible is definitely a bonus. They're trying to increase the profit margin to the best of their ability, get the most money that they possibly can with the least amount of effort. And so they don't have a job that they don't always have a job that's associated with the thing they like to collect. Like, one of them might like to collect stamps, but have a job as, let's say, a realtor, or a house flipper, or something like that.
Or an antiques auctioneer.
Yeah, an antiques auctioneer. But their entire goal is to have the highest profit margin with the lowest effort and the lowest cost. Usually that involves using cheap materials for refurbishing, or just not refurbishing at all. It might be taking some sort of junk object and making it look like an antique or look valuable. But almost always it's at the cost of the person who's buying from them. They often like to show their wealth. They like to dress nice, they like to drive fancy cars, they like to wear a lot of jewelry, stuff like that. But it's very rare to actually see them spending a dime on anything.
That makes sense. I actually chose the outfit for the guy based on a combination of an old-fashioned zoot suit um, and the secretary or uh, pawnbroker type outfit that the reference character had.
Mhm. So, oftentimes they like to try and flaunt their wealth in order to get people to do what they want, but not actually pay them. Or pay them in cheap stuff. That isn't, that's basically monopoly money for them. I'm not going to say chump change, because they wouldn't even give them chump change, but more like, oh yeah, here, have this stone that I found at the side of the road that I put silver paint on, so it looks nicer than it is.
That sounds about right. Or
Yeah.
find or find some way to break the deal that comes off as being the other person's fault.
Because my goal was, when I originally made Greed Demons, they were kind of what you'd probably imagine a thing, an entity of greed might be, just lots of money, hoards it, that kind of stuff. But I didn't really like that, and when I decided that I wanted to have all of the demons have some sort of trait specific to their type, or some sort of innate power specific to their type, or both, I couldn't really come up with anything to, this person likes collecting money. And one of my friends, when I was talking with them, mentioned, like, why not have them able to see the value of something? And that makes sense. Because to them, it's not about being rich, it's about taking money from others while making them, like, it's about taunting them.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be about money, does it?
No,
If it's something that holds great sentimental value, it could be considered just as valuable as something that has monetary value.
yeah, so it is about getting something valuable from somebody else. It is about making people do what you want. Because all of the demons, at the end of the day, their goal is making some, making people do what you want, no matter the costs. Getting what you want, no matter the costs. And each of the demons just does it in a different way. A lust demon will do it by manipulating and seducing and giving honeyed words, stuff like that. A wrath demon is going to do so by intimidating and making people fear him. They're going to make people want to go, oh, I want to listen to this person, because if I don't listen to this person, they are going to mess me up.
Right.
Whereas a gluttony demon might make you want to do what they want in order to just get one last morsel of their amazing meals, something like that.
Right. That reminds me of
Even if those meals are spiked with drugs, because gluttony isn't exactly food; it's just overconsumption of anything. So oftentimes, gluttony demons can also be drug dealers, or
it reminds me of the Ice Queen in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when she gives the kid the Turkish delight.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
She would be what would be considered a gluttony demon, basically, in that case.
Absolutely. And gluttony demons also often run these overly luxurious hotels and luxury apartments and things that are often associated with overindulgence.
That makes a lot of sense. So there's a whole lot of background that you figured out for the species of demons as in
Yes.
general. Is there a reason you chose for the demons in your specific universe to um, resemble dragons in general?
Yes, it originally just started off as I had dragons and I had demons, and this was before I decided there was going to be 7 types of demons, one for each of the deadly sins. And demons and dragons were just super similar that I decided to merge them. Like, okay, dragons are not powerful in the sense that you think, where they can breathe fire and cleave somebody in half with a single claw swipe, but instead they were very strong of the mind. Their powers came from wealth, and their powers came from will. So a battle between dragons were often debates or throwing money around. But then I decided to start to change that a bit further and make it so that way there were different types of dragons. So kind of early in the process, I decided that, these two are similar enough. A lot of the qualities that the demons give are qualities that are often very stereotypical to a dragon in fantasy. Greedy, power hungry, often like to take things from others, kind of not likable, selfish. And that selfish was when it kind of just hit me like, oh yeah, this is what demons are. They're not evil, they're just selfish.
That makes a lot of sense too. And I like how you combined the two species to be one thing, where regular dragons, so to speak, wouldn't exist in the universe you're talking about. But there would be different ways of making demons, which are essentially dragons.
Exactly.
And I really liked the idea you had of having other species being able to turn into demons by making a deal with one. That's kind of where I ended up coming up with the color palette for your greed demon. I based the color palette off of the pattern of a cichlid species fish called an Oscar, but I picked the albino pattern, which was kind of a creamy white color with orange speckles.
Actually, a person who makes a deal with a demon or a dragon isn't the one that slowly turns into a dragon. The way it works is they'd never let anybody figure this out. Like, they wouldn't be caught dead saying this, but demons actually need an incredibly selfish act, just an act of pure self-centeredness in order to actually fuel their ability enough to abide to their part of the bargain. Like, if a lust demon wants to force somebody to fall in love with the person making a deal with them, they need that selfish power. They, of course, wouldn't let the person they're making a deal with know that, because that would give a negotiation advantage over that person. But that part of the deal, and in order to limit people from making a deal with demons multiple times, is you have to give up your firstborn child. You have to agree to give up your firstborn child to a demon in order to actually make a deal with them, whether they're already born or not. And that's the act of selfishness that is enough to fuel that ability. That kid becomes a half dragon. Usually it's the eye color that changes first. First, just the irises, because the whites of a true pure blood demon are black. But the color of the irises, which is how you determine what the type of demon is, changes to be the type of demon that is their adoptive parent. And the demon will raise this kid that they took to live their lifestyle, to be selfish, to get what you want, to gain power no matter the cost in their own different way. And the more that somebody follows this lifestyle, the more they become a dragon.
So, say you get a kid who was, or not necessarily a kid, but more of a grown up adult, whose parent was selfish enough to sacrifice their firstborn child who happens to be an adult. Um,
There's a cutoff point there. Like I believe the cutoff point is 5 years or lower.
okay.
Before the kid is actually old enough to be able to make their own decisions knowingly and think about the consequences, that kind of stuff.
So, what happens if the kid decides to resist the transformation, so to speak?
Actually, I do have a character like that. Usually, the demon, they don't have to accept the lifestyle. Usually, if they do, the demon will lavish them with praise and usually a life of luxury, stuff like that, where, as if not, they're gonna kind of mistreat them. So, uh, but after they're 18, they're free to do whatever they want, much like a normal person, and they are willing, they are able to take their parent to court if it gets bad enough. So usually by 18, if somebody's not well on their way to becoming a demon, they're gonna just get the boot, or maybe a demon will try and hold them captive, so to speak, and try and force them to accept that lifestyle, but it doesn't always work out. And if that happens, then the person who has run away, who has rejected this life as a dragon, just has to be very careful with what they do. They can't be. It usually requires like a very pure of heart person, somebody who is very kind, somebody who is very selfless, because it's very easy, particularly easy for a half dragon to fall into some sort of addictive behavior or some other lifestyle that a demon would usually do, because it's very easy for them to fall into that trap.
So, like, say they fall into some kind of depressive episode or something in life, like happens to some people, and they and they can't seem to get themselves out of it. Eventually, would that particular lifestyle or addiction end up turning them into a full dragon, whether they want to or not?
It depends on what it is. Like let's take a gluttony demon for example. Uh, let's say somebody, and this is something that takes place over the course of maybe 25, 30 years for somebody to become a full dragon
Mm-hmm.
on the fast end of things. But usually, if somebody, like, let's say a half demon of gluttony, decides to, I don't know, let's say use cocaine, if they keep using it for years upon years on end, they fall into that addiction, then eventually they're going to start noticing some changes. Or maybe they might not notice it, but some changes are going to happen. Maybe their tail starts to grow a bit more draconic. Maybe they start growing claws. Maybe they start losing some features that they had beforehand.
Like in the case of the one that I designed for you, the only thing that they retained from their original form was basically the color palette.
Right. And I think some of the things on the head looked a bit like fins. So, but, but maybe the fins would grow a bit more spiky.
Right.
So it's kind of a, to use a cliche, it's the frog in the pot. Like, over the slow boil, they're not going to notice themselves turning into. But if you were to put a picture of them now and them 5 years, 10 years from now, you wouldn't notice the difference.
That makes a lot of sense, and I really like how you develop the idea behind these characters you have me design. This was a really fun character to draw, and I look forward to doing the rest of them.
And the reason that I decided to do the firstborn child, aside from the limiting it to one per, because you are selfish enough, that is enough power to be selfish enough to not only take away a kid from your potential spouse or mate, but also ruin the kid's life. You are essentially damning the future of your firstborn kid.
Which is a future that's technically not yours to take.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. So,
dragons are also infertile.
Yeah, they can't make babies.
Yeah, they just take them.
Bunch of baby-stealing dragon dingoes.
Funnily enough, it's actually not illegally kidnapping if you make a deal with a dragon. Just because it's essentially willingly giving them up for adoption.
I suppose.
Also, there may or may not have been a dragon or two that were pulling the strings behind governments when they were making that choice.
Imagine how awful it would be to have to be brainwashed by a wrath dragon.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the times when the deal is made, you don't think about it. It doesn't come back until you actually have your firstborn child, and then it comes to haunt you. And by that point, yeah, you're just growing up in that lifestyle as is. But most of the instances of a person who is turning into a half-dragon rebelling is when they're taken out of age, like 4 or 5, and it is a particularly traumatic experience.
I would imagine so. Getting took away from your parents because they decided they didn't want them anymore.
Yeah, deciding that they would rather have beauty than their kid, or money.
Right.
Or a better life, or a high lifestyle, something like that. And so yeah, it's very traumatic, and a lot of the times the parents can be pretty callous about it, because this is obviously something that they've thought about. And of course, some demons, like lust demons, with their seducing, try their best to make it an impulse decision, like, oh, you want this, well, I have the deal for you, kind of thing. But usually, they're thinking about it beforehand anyway.
That makes sense.
Usually people approach a dragon to do this.
I mean, yeah, they wouldn't be able to just seek someone out. I am, however, going to stop the recording, so if you have anything to say for an outro, then go ahead and do so now.
I can't think of anything aside from thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Always fun to explain this stuff.
And if I do more of your characters for YouTube videos, I'll probably end up having you discuss the artwork with me again, just to be able to put something over the speed paint.
For sure. It was a lot of fun to actually share my lore with the dragons, because they were one of the first original, in my opinion, truly original things that I've come up with, and not just based off of something else. There's actually a lot that stems from them, like vampires stem from gluttony demons.
That's pretty cool. That's a nice concept. We might have to go into more depth in that next time. But thank you for interviewing with me, and as always, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
You don't wanna fuck with me, don't wanna test your luck with me.
And there you have it, folks. That was my interview with Ivic regarding his commission for the character design for a Greed Demon. What an interesting concept, don't you think? Comment below if you've ever spent time developing your own headcanon for worlds and universes you may have characters that you make to inhabit. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the speed paint. Stick around till the end for more, well, me.
You know the one Kenobi, force-fed baloney by phonies. Just wanna rule the world, call me Mr. Steel Girl. Easy gave me the referral, now he's worried about a jail. Yeah, coming out strong, I've been here for a long time. Started off online, finish off all time. They can call me crazy cause I rap like I got rabies. I'm confident, not lazy, and I'm dominating lately. She want me like some pastries, I'ma give it to these ladies like I'm Hefner in my 80s. Still I'm pushing up daisies. Don't wanna fuck with me, don't wanna test your luck with me. Cause if you try to fuck with me, I'll take all your body parts to a fucking graveyard. 6 feet, don't wanna fuck with me. Don't wanna test your luck with me. Cause if you try to fuck with me, I'll take all your body parts to a fucking graveyard. 6 feet. I can taste it, I'm fading. Why am I still waiting? What are y'all debating? It's really irritating. You hear what I'm saying? Fear got him shaking. You won't ever find a fucker like me in the making. Bite me and you'll break him. Your teeth will be vacant. I don't need to be patient, man. I breed entertainment from the streets, not the basement. Oh, see, I've been baking like your mama's casserole. She makes me. I turn on the radio when you hear some shit. Your throat all slit if you don't post this, and I won't be missed. Hell no, I'm pissed. I'm the only rapper in this game worth shit. I go it on my own, don't need nobody's help. I do it all alone, I'ma do it by myself. All these lyrics on my own, you won't put me on the shelf. Every punch that I throw, I can send your ass to hell. Better run, bitch, down with me. Don't wanna test your luck with me. Cause if you try to fuck with me, I'll take all your body parts to a fucking graveyard. 6 feet, don't wanna fuck with me. Don't wanna test your luck with me. Cause if you try to fuck with me, I'll take all your body parts to a fucking graveyard. 6 feet underground. I am not one to give second chances. You only got one life, take advantage. No, I will not sit by, I demand it. You cannot stop my drive, I command it. I just wanna make it right. I always put up a fight. I will never lose my sight. I know I need you by my side. I have nothing else to hide. I've got it wrong and got it right. I've told the truth, I've told some lies. I live some days, then others die. If I want it, then I'll get it somehow. Want it, then I'll get it, no doubt. Cause I will never let me down. No, I will never let me down. Stopping now, I am never slowing down. I had a taste, it's in my mouth, and now I wanna take that crown. I will fight for everything, I will fight to reach my dreams. I will die or I'll succeed, to me this life means everything. You want it, then go capture it. Need it, then get after it. Bleed because you're passionate, cause talent's just the half of it. I'm sick of being average, I just want a better status. I don't sit back, I attack it, and I'll work until I have it, yeah. If I want it, then I'll get it somehow. Want it, then I'll get it, no doubt. Cause I will never let me down. No, I will never let me down.
Hey again, Fenni here. If you made it this far, congratulations and welcome to the end of the video. I do intend on doing more of these, though I'll likely stick with slightly smaller images or maybe start with the sketch already completed, etc. to save for time, since 30 minutes is a bit strenuous to sit through for some, when it comes to a YouTube video anyway. However, for a first try, I think it came off pretty well, don't you? If you enjoyed my content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell to receive notifications when I upload, which may be a sporadic thing until I can get the hang of editing things. But as a fun little tidbit at the end of each of these videos, I'm going to ask you guys a question. My favorite answers may feature at the end of my next video. Today's question is, if you were able to make a deal with a demon like the one in Ivik's story in exchange for your firstborn, would you? And if so, what wish would you have the demon grant? This has been Fenni of FrozenOver Studios, and thank you for watching.